Tonight, the powerful storm bringing dangerous surf and massive rogue waves. The California coast pounded by a wall of water up to 30 feet high. Terrifying videos of the surf blasting over seawalls, sweeping people away. The dramatic rescues, the destruction left behind, and the race to stop the next crush of waves. Long lines at airports on one of the busiest travel days of the year. Tens of millions headed home for the holidays, and tonight, major airlines now asking the government for help. Plus, Maine's top election official rules Donald Trump is ineligible to be on the primary ballot. Will the Supreme Court uphold her decision? Russia launches its biggest air attack of the war on Ukraine, including on a shopping center. Dozens of civilians killed. The remarkable rescue in Gaza, the baby pulled from the rubble after an Israeli airstrike. We follow her emotional journey back to her family. The war putting New York and other cities on heightened alert ahead of New Year's Eve. The American just arrested on terror charges. The chancellor of a major university fired from his job for making adult films with his wife and posting it on the internet. Why he tells us he should have his job back. And why so many couples are rushing to tie the knot on this New Year's Eve. Can you guess why? Some think it's the perfect time to say I do.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
And good evening. I'm Tom Yamas, in for Lester tonight. As we come on the air, we are tracking a dangerous storm system, bringing massive waves to California's coast, as well as a state of emergency in the Midwest after a dangerous ice storm there. You can see people running for their lives from another wave, the storm leaving a trail of destruction in their wake, and forecasters warn it could get even worse in the hours ahead. In the Midwest, this is the scene in North Dakota. The roads so icy, people are literally ice skating on them. Thousands are without power tonight. And all of this on one of the busiest travel days of the holidays. Lines at airports like this in Orlando, seemingly endless. We are covering it all tonight, and we begin with Steve Patterson on the California coast.
Tonight. Terrifying, massive monster waves.
Oh, no! Oh!
Lashing the west coast. Look at the walls of water, some as high as 30 feet, exploding over seawalls, sparking widespread flooding, evacuations, and harrowing ocean rescues. The high surf causing at least 8 injuries in Ventura County, California alone, with crews racing to rescue 15 people swept into the sea.
This is supposed to protect us.
Colin Hogue was there filming that heart-pounding moment.
People were running and screaming. It was like an apocalyptic movie. I saw people being dragged down the street in the mud.
The water leaving streets soaked, and the area's battered beaches shut down.
And crews now racing to build this massive, mile-long, 7-foot-high berm with the eye of the storm now focused on the north.
The waves, part of a storm system stirring up surf from the Bay Area all the way up to Washington. And in North Dakota, a state of emergency as freezing temperatures turned roads into rinks.
This is the street in front of my house. Look at him go. Oh my God.
Back in California, where the rough seas are a huge attraction for surfers, officials are worried.
We're asking people to stay away and stay out of the area for their safety and for ours.
A warning ahead of the next wave. Stay clear of the coast.
And with that, Steve Patterson joins us now live from Ventura. Steve, the storm system is on the move and could get even worse in the hours ahead?
Yeah, Tom, in no way are we out of the woods yet. This storm system could still bring waves as tall as 40 feet, putting structures like this berm to the absolute test. Now, the last line of defense between that dangerous surf and a community like this. Tom?
40-foot waves. All right, Steve Patterson leading us off tonight. Steve, thank you. That storm on the West Coast is likely to create more travel headaches. Thousands of flights were delayed again today as holiday travelers cram airports for one of the busiest travel days of the year. And now the airlines are asking for help. Sam Brock has the latest.
As American airports smash records with millions of travelers. Miami tonight, once again leading the nation in delays, according to FlightAware, with more than 300.
There's got to be more than just this line for this amount of people.
As the country copes with nearly 4,000 delays coast to coast. The Canes family trying to trek their way from South Florida through Texas to Tulsa.
Expect to leave on time, but it is flying commercially in 8 hours with 3 kids. So we're realistic. We're realistic. They're great, but we're realistic.
Florida airports appear to be particularly bustling. One woman in Orlando posting a time lapse of an astonishingly long security line. As the airport tells NBC News they're expecting record traffic during this holiday period. Meantime, Miami just broke an all-time record for daily travelers. As a triple whammy of high volume, weather, and short staffing in air traffic control has prompted the airlines to write this letter to the feds pleading for help in Florida. While in Chicago, crowds are a given, but passengers say it's largely been smooth.
It's been the regular experience I think that everyone else has, just trying to come home for the holidays.
With O'Hare in San Francisco, also among the nation's most delayed airports tonight.
And Sam, today is one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season, but we haven't even peaked yet, correct?
No, we have not, Tom. According to the FAA, the travel fury is far from over, with tomorrow the expected peak, and some 45,000 flights Monday and Wednesday are also expected to be busy. Tom?
All right, Sam Brock for us. Sam, thank you for that. Let's turn now to politics and the battle over whether Donald Trump should be on the ballot. It's heating up tonight after Maine's top election official ruled that the former president is ineligible. The question now likely headed to the Supreme Court. Ryan Nobles has the latest.
For the second time in 2 weeks, a state has ruled that Donald Trump is ineligible to run for president of the United States.
It was not a close call on the question of whether January 6th, 2021 was an insurrection. The events of January 6, 2021 were unprecedented and tragic.
Sheena Bellows, the Secretary of State in Maine, a Democrat, determined that Trump's actions on January 6th constitute a violation of the 14th Amendment. The weight of the evidence makes clear that Mr. Trump was aware of the tinder laid by his multi-month effort to delegitimize a Democratic election and then chose to light a match, she wrote. The decision in Maine is similar to one in Colorado, and in both cases, the ruling won't go into effect until the appeals process is exhausted, meaning Trump will remain on the ballot for now. The Trump campaign promised to appeal and called the decision hyper-partisan. His GOP opponents agreed.
That turns on its head every notion of constitutional due process.
There are similar challenges playing out in states across the country. 4 other states, including Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, and now California, have determined that Trump can stay on the ballot. Maine's Democratic Congressman Jared Golden, who voted to impeach Trump, argued removing him from the ballot is a mistake. Until he is actually found guilty of the crime of insurrection, he should be allowed on the ballot, he said in a statement. It also opens the door for the Trump campaign to raise money and fire up his base.
It makes him a martyr. You know, he's very good at playing poor me, poor me. He's always complaining.
The timing means that Trump will remain on the ballot for the primaries, but it is setting up a showdown in the U.S. Supreme Court, which will likely have the final say.
And with that, Ryan joins us live tonight from Washington. Ryan, the reality here is the Supreme Court may not decide this in time for the primaries.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. That's because Maine and Colorado will hold their primaries on March 5th. That's Super Tuesday, meaning by the time the Supreme Court weighs in, it will likely only impact the general election in November. Tom?
All right, Ryan, thank you for that. All right, we want to turn overseas now to Russia's biggest air assault on Ukraine yet. The assault targeting multiple locations across the country. At least 30 people killed and more than 100 injured, most of them civilians. Matt Bradley has the details.
Tonight, Ukraine is reeling from what it says is Russia's biggest aerial attack yet. Ukraine's president saying 158 missiles and drones swarmed out across the country this morning, leaving dozens dead, more than 100 injured, and reminding Ukrainians that not even the holiday season is sacred. The joy of the holidays is what it is, said this woman in Kyiv. Joy on the face, but tears and pain inside. In Kharkiv, rescuers pulled an elderly man out from under rubble. He was alive. Russia announced today that it had launched one massive attack, striking military and industrial facilities and ammunition storage sites. But many of today's strikes hit civilian targets. An apartment building in Odessa, a huge shopping center in Dnipro, and a kitchen in Kyiv, fresh from holiday cooking. No one was killed or injured at this maternity hospital in Dnipro. These nurses said they were able to rush mothers and babies to a shelter. But as Russia's invasion approaches the 2-year mark, the U.S. Congress just sent its last $250 million to help Ukraine. Some Republican lawmakers have resisted giving aid. The Biden administration today urged Congress to step up, as the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv warned Russia may increase its airstrikes over the New Year's holiday, heaping more nightmares on a holiday season already spoiled by war. Matt Bradley, NBC News.
Okay, we head to the Middle East now, where Israel has not let up on its airstrikes on Gaza. Our cameras were there for the terrifying moments. A baby girl was found in the rubble of an apartment building and the frantic search to reunite her with her family. Josh Letterman reports.
In the Gaza darkness, an airstrike has ripped through Rafah. Palestinians dig for survivors with their bare hands. And then, there, in the rubble, a child is found, just 10 months old, named Tala. She's covered by a mattress, unconscious, but breathing. They chant, "She's alive, she's alive." Her father, Ahmed, buried feet away, is freed. Seconds later, baby Tala is freed too. She clings to life, carried by a neighbor to the hospital. The child survives, but her mother, siblings, grandmother, and 3 uncles did not. The next morning, Ahmed has yet to see his daughter. Her cousin collects her from a nearby tent city. Her leg is broken, but she's okay. Where is your brother and sister, he says. A father and daughter now united in loss. He tells her, there's no one left for us. No one but each other. Josh Letterman, NBC News.
We thank Josh and his team for that moving report. We'll be right back in 60 seconds with an NBC News exclusive about that Chinese spy balloon shot down earlier this year, plus the new technology to keep New Year celebrations safe. Stay with us. We're back now with an NBC News exclusive about that Chinese spy balloon that the U.S. shot down in February. U.S. officials say that an intelligence assessment has found that the balloon actually used an American internet service provider to relay information to and from China. The data was primarily related to its navigation. The internet provider has denied that its network was used by the balloon. Okay, now to the market. Stocks were down slightly today. Take a look. The final trading day of 2023. But the big picture is looking positive and great. The S&P 500 finished the year up 24%, rising for the past 9 straight weeks. And as we head into this New Year's weekend, cities across the country are on heightened security alerts, due in part to tensions over the war in the Middle East. Aaron McLaughlin tonight from Times Square.
2, 1, tonight, Times Square just about ready to ring in the new year. City officials insist security is all set to handle a crowd in the hundreds of thousands.
There are no specific threats to the city.
Even so, with thousands of officers deployed, they say they're expanding the zone to be blocked off.
We will be out here with our canines, our horsebacks, our drones, our helicopters, our boats.
This year's ball drop amidst increasing tension over the Israel-Hamas war. Protesters taking aim at New York's holiday season, having already interrupted the city's Christmas celebrations and Thanksgiving parade.
We're prepared for them at any number.
Tonight overseas, the FBI revealing they've arrested a man from New Jersey. Following the October 7th terror attack in Israel, they allege the 23-year-old tried to join a known foreign terror organization to attack the United States. This following last year's Times Square machete attack targeting 2 police on New Year's Eve. Tonight, law enforcement especially wary of the so-called lone wolf.
Someone that's sitting alone in their basement, watching videos,
getting filled with hate and just decides today's the day I'm going to do something.
Across the country in Las Vegas, a low-altitude helicopter buzzing over the Strip, checking for radioactive contamination. Tonight, America's largest cities taking no chances, with that delicate balance between security,
welcome 2024,
and celebration.
And Aaron joins us tonight live from Times Square. And Aaron, the expansion of the security zone this year is because of possible protests?
That's right, Tom. Law enforcement says the expansion could help to create more of a buffer between any protests and the celebrations. They also say it could create more space for them to be able to respond to any security incidents. Tom.
Okay, Aaron McLaughlin for us. Aaron, thank you for that. We're back in a moment with the university chancellor fired for making adult videos with his wife and posting them on the internet, while he tells us he should have his job back. All right, we are back now with another free speech issue at an American university, but this one is a little different. The head of a Wisconsin university was terminated for making adult videos with his wife and posting them on the internet. But tonight he's fighting back and speaking to our Jesse Kirsch.
Good morning and welcome.
At the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, Dr. Joe Gao led this commencement ceremony just days ago.
She's Carmen.
And he's Joe.
And we are
the Sexy Happy Couple.
And this is
Sexy Healthy Cooking.
But away from his day job as school chancellor, Gao was working on a different kind of video.
You have outdone yourself.
Gao and his wife, Carmen Wilson, star in their own pornographic videos on sites like Pornhub. He says in recent months they started publicly posting the adult videos, including this sexually explicit YouTube cooking show.
Really good. And you outdid yourself yesterday as well.
Thank you.
We had such a great time.
You got it.
Yeah.
Roughly a week ago, Gao says the universities of Wisconsin asked about his videos, and by Wednesday, he was abruptly terminated as chancellor after nearly 17 years of service.
There was no due process. I was never informed of any policy that I violated.
The university system has not specified why Gao was terminated, but the president writes in a statement, Gao subjected the university to significant reputational harm. His actions were abhorrent. Gao believes he was terminated because of his pornography, and argues his university is not honoring freedom of expression.
There are the classical exceptions to the First Amendment, but having material that explores consensual adult sexuality, I mean, that shouldn't be. We should be able to talk about that on a college campus.
Is it fair to say, though, that you were held to a different standard as the leader of the university, as the face of the university in ways?
I'm not sure.
Some experts say legal precedent does not favor Gao.
There's a large zone of speech on matters of private concern that's protected in the sense that you can't go to jail for it or you can't be sued for it, but that the employer might still fire you.
An old debate getting a new look from a surprising perspective. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
All right, when we come back, couples are rushing to get married on December 31st, 2023. What's so special about that date? Finally tonight, what's in a number? Well, for a lot of people, rushing to tie the knot on the final day of 2023 means a lot.
3, 2, 1.
Before the confetti falls on 2023, the final countdown to the new year has couples across the country racing to the altar, trying to beat the clock with a marriage before midnight to claim a special date. That's because this Sunday is 12/31/23, or 123/123. What is it about 12/31/23 that is so special?
It only happens once in forever. That's really the coolest thing ever.
The numbers lucky for Kathy Kuffel and Dan Johnson, who've decided to celebrate their love that day. What is it about Dan that you love so much?
I love that he found my smile. He makes me laugh. I have had such adventures since I met him, and he brought me back from a very sad place, and I am just grateful every day that he's here.
In Buffalo, the math full of meaning for Derek Joswiak and Allison Yelich.
I think it's a count to the next chapter for us. You know, I mean, we've been together for a long time. And, you know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's be married and be a husband and wife.
So many people want 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for their anniversary that they're rolling the dice on Vegas, the wedding capital of the world. So packed ahead of Sunday that there's a pop-up marriage license bureau in the airport. When you find the perfect mate on the perfect date, it's a time to toast to a lifetime of love and laughter.
Dan, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, and we sometimes get a bad rap for forgetting anniversaries. Yes. Is one of the reasons you did this so you would never forget the anniversary date?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, know him well. Congratulations to all the couples getting married this weekend. That's Nightly News for this Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Llamas. For all of us at NBC News, have a good night and a happy New Year.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.